It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. Columbia. This is Houston, AOS, over.
What's going on, folks? Welcome back to another episode of the Knicks podcast. I'm your host, Maggio, as always, with my co-host, Shaun Geddes and Mike Cortez. What's going on, fellas?
I'm all right, man.
We're a little rusty. We got to get back into the rhythm. I know we haven't been as consistent as we would like, but at least we got some of those post-game pods coming to you. You know, Josh, Dean, Candace have been doing an excellent job with that.
Shout out to them.
Yeah, I mean, definitely trying to get you guys some good post-game content. So doing a great job. Appreciate them stepping up. But we're here to talk Knicks, as always. And, if generally most years, if I would have told you we were, 7-5 to start like the first 12, almost every time, even this year, we'd be like, yeah, that's good. I mean, you want a winning record, could have been a little better, but we would always take the winning record. I'm sure all of us, we would be nodding, right? I think that's good. But this has felt like a somewhat tumultuous 7-5 record to start the season. I think just based off actually having real expectations entering this year after a successful run where they took a tremendous leap individually as a team. But Mike, I'm going to just lob it up to you first. But what is your take maybe on this start? And I know specifically per Tibbs last night, storming off during the presser, he's not too pleased with the starting unit, and Julius spoke to it a little bit today. But I mean, what are your thoughts, kind of broadly here, with this start that they've had?
Well, Thibodeau definitely should not be happy. So I'm happy he's not trying to be like Fizdale, where Fizdale tried to spin this into like, oh, we're all learning. I'm happy Thibodeau's acknowledging this is bullshit. I'm kind of in between. Remember last year when we recorded a similar podcast, we were like, let's just enjoy the season. And ever since then, I feel like we've been like this happy-go-lucky bunch, which is cool. But it's getting to the point where it's like, all right, it's time to like start holding these guys accountable. And what I mean by that is call them out when they're not doing their best. Julius said this all last year when he was getting shit his first year. When I'm not on my shit, call me out. And this is one of those moments. The starting lineup in particular has just not been good lately at all. They have one of the worst net ratings out of a five-man lineup, minus 14.4. That's pretty damn bad. And they just look like a team that just doesn't have an identity right now. And I'm talking particularly to the starters because the bench unit seems to be the team from last year that I remember seeing. And you notice the energy switch immediately. And even when you see RJ and Julius play with the bench guys, you just notice a different vibe to them. So I'm a little frustrated. I'm going to let you guys get into the Evan Fournier discourse, but Kemba, my guy, he's been a little rough. He acknowledged it today, said the slow start's on him. He's taking responsibility as a leader, which is also good, but words are words, and we need action. And I do think we have 15 really good players. I just think Thibodeau needs to do a little better job mixing them up. So that's where I'm at right now. I'm content, but I'm also trying to hold these guys accountable and see good basketball again.
And as you should, I don't know. I feel like you said, we reached that happy-go-lucky place, and I feel like it put the fan base into a weird place. And it's because it's less frustrating because I know why, but it's also more frustrating because people don't realize why. People don't know how to win. Like Knicks fans, we don't know how to win. We don't know how to have a good team. We don't know the experience of having a good team. So yes, we're 7-5. That's great. We would have, we're over 500. Even now, I'm not mad about being. I mean, we should be better than that. Like we're 7-5, and we lost to the Orlando Magic at home after beating them by damn near 30. We lost to the Toronto Raptors at home with no Scotty Barnes, no Pascal Siakam. We got blown out by Indiana. We let Ricky Rubio hang 37 on us, and we were down by 24 last night. So, I mean, we could be a little better than that. And there's certain things I've been screaming it all week, all 2 weeks, whatever. Effort is non-negotiable. You can have the off night. You can have the night where you come in and guys just aren't hitting shots. We get it. It happens. You're not going to hit them all every night. But the thing with this team unfortunately, is that for some reason it's like their success shooting wise is tied to their energy. And that can't be the case. Like, it's like when we're not hitting shots, like we just look horrible. Like nothing's happening now. Now we're not flying around defensively. We're not locked in. We're getting beat on back doors. We're not rotating. We're not closing out to shooters. It's disgusting. That's unacceptable. Like, so, and there's this group of people in the fan base now who, like, when you say that's unacceptable, they're like, oh, you guys are giving up on these guys, or you're just like, shut up, bro. Like, he didn't close out. Like, plain and simple. Like, if you play basketball, you know that. If you watch basketball, you know that. Kemba, like, the Kemba thing is upsetting. Do I think Kemba Walker sucks at basketball? No. Do I hate Kemba Walker? No. I love Kemba Walker. But if he doesn't turn a corner and break a defense down, somebody else might have to play. Plain and simple. Does it need to happen right now? No, it does. I'm not saying it does, but after a while, and I was very relieved, and I honestly am becoming increasingly convinced that Tibbs watches post-game prosperity and post-game pouting, because every once in a while he says something and I'm like, yo, like, that sounds familiar. But this time it was like right after the Philly game, and I don't, of course it wasn't because he watched it or whatever, but I like that that's where his head's at when he was like,
it was.
I like that that's where his head's at, where he's like, yo, like, you say 10 games, then you say 20 games, then you say 30 games, then you say 40. It's bullshit. Like, no, yeah, it's been 12 games. Okay, like, that's damn near, we're almost at 20% of the season. Like, these games count, you know. And I feel like I was screaming that last year while we were in the playoff race, and I was like, yo, I know you guys we haven't been in the playoff race in a long time, but every game counts. And you think we saw that last year, and I'm like, oh, it's just, they're 7-5. You should be happy. This is a good team. Like, Evan, like, no, bro, people aren't hitting shots. And like, Kemba was despicable last night. It was awful. I accidentally called him Cardio Kemba. I didn't want to do it. I tried to take it back after. I don't want it to stick, so I really hope he starts playing well soon. I don't want to be the one that did that. Like, that hurt me.
That's a great Tragic Johnson, like, Cardio Kemba.
That hurt me. So like it's one thing, bro, like, you know, you didn't hit a shot. Okay. The fact that Kemba didn't hit a shot, and there was a homie, who was it? Damn it, I hate when I do that. But he had a bet on Kemba for over under 2.5 assists, and he lost his money. It's like, okay, you didn't score. You didn't get any assist. You didn't play great defensively. So what did you do today? You dribbled. Like, you're hurting the team during that time. You know, Evan Fournier not knocking down shots. Like, okay, so like, when you're not knocking down shots, what are you giving us? You know? And it's like, if you're not giving us anything, I'm sorry. Like, yeah, the personal storyline is great. It's beautiful. You're home. All of this. Oh, we signed you this offseason. I believe in you. You're the star. Sure. But we can't just keep punting games waiting for you to give us something. Like, it can't be, oh, if you're not 5 for 8 from 3 tonight, then you're useless. That can't be the case. So do I think the Kemba's hopeless? No. Have I lost some hope? Yes. And I hope to have it restored soon. But I mean, it's not illegal to criticize your basketball players, guys. Like, teams win championships and through that entire season are upset. Like, Lakers fans be pissed off at Frank Vogel. Like, it happens. You're allowed to want to see better things. Like, Tibbs stormed off in the presser, and you guys are still saying, I don't know why you're upset with the team. Yeah, it's annoying. Like,
nah, I mean, we've come full circle now. Time is a flat circle, because, I mean, look, I've gotten over my honeymoon phase a little bit, because I was so tired of complaining. You guys know this. I was so tired, exhausted. I just wanted to enjoy it for a bit. And I did. And I had no reason to enjoy it until I couldn't anymore. So, I mean, for me, that was the last couple of games, because mostly I agree with you on, and first of all, everybody likes to think I'm going to come out here and be like, you got to bench Fournier. I was right, you motherfucker. Like, what I'm coming on to say was exactly what you just said, was if you're not making shots, what are you doing? And to me, like, it's blind right now to me. It's for Kemba, it's for Fournier. We signed you guys to not really have to do a whole lot except work off Randall and RJ and make jump shots. Really. Like, Kemba's really not being asked to do a whole lot. Like, that's why I try to, with the Kemba stuff, I'm trying to be more patient, because it really, like, he's gotten open looks and, like, shit's just not going in. And, like, again, you got to make the shots. I say this all the time. It's not an excuse. This is a results-oriented business. And if you're not getting the results, then somebody else got to come in and do it. So, yes, he's got to make shots. Like, that's what it comes down to. Fournier, too. You're here to make jump shots. And no offense to Fournier, but, like, the defense hasn't been good for a little bit now. I'm watching him die on screens. He's chasing a lot, and that was one thing we all hated during the Alfred Payton time here, was dying on screens and then chasing. I hate seeing guys chasing. I don't want to see you chase. Like, if you maybe play back a little bit too far and he gets a jumper off, like, okay. Like, if you know you're slow-footed, whatever, you can't keep up. I understand that. Like, that's the game. That's how you have to play it. You know, that's fine. You understand your limitations. You're hedging a little bit. Okay. I don't like seeing you get beat all the time. Like, on the wing, we can't afford that, right? And it's twofold because we're scrambling from the corners. And this is my question for you guys now. It's with the starting thing too. Because whether it's Mitch or even Noel, I don't understand what the point of having both those guys are if you're not going to trust them to do their job back there on the back line. That doesn't mean never send help, but the way that we're sending help so often and so constantly, I don't get that, because to me, the appeal of Mitchell Robinson, the shot blocker, is that he can take 2 steps in any direction and rise up and block anything. We've seen him run out to the 3-point line in a couple steps, swat something. Remember, when he fell on the ground, I always reference this one because it's to me, that was the perfect encapsulation of him, right? So if that guy exists, right, and he's in the paint for you, why are you so desperate to go help him all the time? To me, there's a reason he's one of the best shot blockers in the game, right? There's a reason. Him and Noel, they're both two top 5 guys, and you signed both of them, right? And you're helping so far and so fast. So again, some of that helping is fine. Some of those rotations are fine. You're gonna have to do them, but like a lot of times it's not the case. And we know this. They're sagging too far off from the corner. So I don't like that. Like I don't think that's smart, because I don't think that's like, I don't get how Tibbs knows defense, obviously, right? So I don't get why that changed this year. Like I'm asking you guys even, because to me it's a very silly thing they're starting to do. Like what? Because even like Julius, for example, has stepped up a little bit. Like maybe not consistently with the rotations. I've seen people complain, and sure, he's definitely missed some. But at the same time, his like stocks, blocks and steal activity, that's up for him. His activity's up actually, right? So he's kind of getting more active going to the rim right now. Not always getting there on time, but when he does, he's doing stuff. So again, I'm just wondering why that was starting to factor in. Like I'm wondering why that was schematically. It's too many threes now, because Ricky Rubio was open the whole night. We've seen everybody's having a career night again. It's usually role players who are open on the wings shooting threes. So stop it, right? I mean, why not take your chances with these guys coming back interior and challenging Mitch? Like, I don't understand this dire circumstance to just sag right now.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the team defense overall for the starters is just really bad. Maybe they don't know where the others are, because the second unit still, like, they're not perfect defensively, but they rotate beautifully. Like last night, there was a couple of plays where Giannis had the ball at the top of the key, and he generated open looks twice. And twice one was blocked by Obi, and then another, I think, was a turnover. But it was like the same kind of breakdown that happens to the starters, only the starters aren't recovering. So part of it's chemistry, part of it's scheme, and I don't really understand it. Why? Like I understood when you're facing someone like Embiid, or whenever they do face Jokic, I understand helping Mitch, or scrambling and trying to force the role players to beat you. But every night, like against the Cavs don't really have anybody that you really have to like double. Like Evan Mobley's probably going to be there sooner than later, but you know what I mean? Like there's not somebody that's like, we have to stop this guy unless this is going to get crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I love the scheme we hit Embiid with, and I love the effectiveness of what we were doing to Giannis at a point, but I feel like it just puts us at risk. I think that with the way, because even with some of the shots the Bucks had last night, I mean, first of all, some of those just good shots, like, and I feel like what does bother me a little bit is like, okay, like if you're helping heavy, like the first Bucks game, it pissed me off. Grayson Allen had like 17 points in the first half. It's like, all right, I get it. You're helping on Giannis. That's why he's getting these. After about the third one, you can't leave him anymore. I don't care what the scheme was. You have to adjust. He's hitting them. So I think that a lot of times when they're hitting them, we continue, like we double down on that. I don't think there's necessarily something wrong with the scheme so much, especially when you play guys like Giannis and Embiid and things like that. But it's just like, if he's spraying it out and they're knocking them down at like a 50% clip from 3, you got to figure something else out, bro. They're hot tonight. And a team that's built to kick it out and rotate will do that all night if you allow them to. And I think that's what made us look so bad last night. I honestly don't think the defense was that terrible last night. We scored 42 points in the first half. Like, that's why we lost the game. So the defense wasn't that terrible. They just hit some really, like, in the fourth quarter, they weren't missing. Giannis hit a shot from like 5 feet behind the three-point line with a hand in his face. Drew Holiday hit a couple contested ones. Pat Connaughton, he got some open ones, but he also hit some shots with some hands in his face. He was on fire. Like, it happens. Like, but you know, we put ourselves in a hole not scoring. And we also continue, and I don't know if it's just us. I know I watch more Knicks basketball than anything. I know that it's like something that doesn't happen in the NBA a lot. I really don't understand it. I don't get why people don't box out. Like, all my life and from childhood, the one thing coaches always yelled was box out, box out, box out. As a coach, box out. When I was box out. They get to the NBA and nobody does it. And a lot of times we'll play good defense, we'll rotate, we'll do what we got to do. They'll miss the shot. We give up an offensive rebound. They kick it back out and it's 3 points anyway. That kills us. At one point, the Bucks got like one possession where they got like 4 or 5 opportunities on one possession. And it was like, all right, like this, only so many of these can be, oh, I was out of position. And like at some point, they're just going harder to the ball than you. Like, you got to box out. You got to figure something out. I think that kills our defense a lot too. Right? Like, we always have limit to one shot. I feel like that should always be a key. But especially when you're how are you packing the paint and giving up offensive rebounds? I don't get it. How are both happening at the same time? Like, it doesn't make any sense. And also with those, with the way that our defense works, and with the way the scheme works, and we, like, you know, rotate and all this, we're probably over helping a lot. But it's like, if anybody is a split second off, our defense is so tied together. That's why the second unit looks so good when they do it, because they're on a string. And it's like, if you're on a string and there's one person who's not doing their job here, it's going to stick out like a sore thumb and everybody's going to look bad. And that's what happens with the starters a lot, to the point where sometimes I can't tell if it's one person or everybody. It's just like, okay, this whole defense looks like shit right now. Like, this is awful. And namely, at points I've been harder on Julius, but that's just because he's a leader. I was really glad that he came out and took accountability for it. But I also don't want to hear that again. That's the last time I want to hear that, at least for the next like month or so. Like, you know, effort is non-negotiable. So if you're being accountable about a lack of effort, I should only have to hear that once, because you can go out there and do that every night. Like, that's something that can be done every single night. So just bring your effort. Don't tell me you're supposed to because you're a leader. Just bring it. And he followed up the next game, and he showed up and he showed out, and that was really good. And I hope he continues to do so. Even in the Bucks game, he got off to a hot start, but the starting lineup was just, the starting backcourt was just so ass that we were dead in the water.
4 points combined, bro. They had 4 points combined. It doesn't.
That's disgusting.
Sense. Look. This was part of the concern with signing these guys, kind of for different parties. Like obviously, I had my skepticism with the Fournier stuff. I was very open about it. It is what it is. The Kemba stuff, a lot of Celtics fans, NBA fans, even some Knicks fans were like, "Hey, I don't know, man. He's very hot or cold now. He either gives you like 20 or then he disappears." And I think, you know, due to our desperation to get it away from number 6 last year, we kind of downplayed. I mean, for sure, I think we probably all did to some degree, but like, we downplayed the Kemba stuff a little bit. And this is kind of, some of it's rearing its head now, because this is kind of what's also, it's not just their fault per se, because they're both ice cold at the same time, but this is also the unfortunate variance that you're going to get with a high volume 3-point attack. Like, generally, these guys are going to be good shooters over the course of the season, but when they or the team go cold, like, and that's like their entire shot profile now, which again, we wanted the threes. It's good. It's part of the attack. You need it, but when they're cold like this, it's awful. It's awful. And like you keep saying too, Shaun, with the defense, like the offense too has to learn when to adjust. You know, if you can't make these threes right now, then like, try something else. And not for nothing, but something else is usually RJ Barrett, because he's the guy who gets inside. Like, Randall is good and he's going to be a tough shot taker and maker over the course of, like, that's just the identity of part of his offensive attack now, is that he's going to be able to score from any level whenever he's trying to feel comfortable getting the flow of the game. And that's fine. But RJ needs more turns too. His touches aren't where they should be in terms of being a clear number 2 yet. If you look at some of the percentage and frequency of what he's getting the ball. And, you know, it's disappointing for me because you can be so creative with him. I feel like we've been saying this for a long time, and then we get more of it very slowly. And then we keep kind of like, yeah, we know. Can you just like rip the Band-Aid off. So like I always reference the Pelicans game right now because the Pelican game to me was like a masterclass with him running the pick and roll. He was using Mitch either side screen, and no matter which way Mitch rolled, he would figure out, okay, I either got to lob the ball up, I'm going to go in, I'm going to attack, I'm going to dip my shoulder in, I'm going to try to finish, maybe I'll try to get free. Like it was, his decision making was perfect. The rim awareness was perfect. Why then can't we give him more to do? He's a smart player. He's a very high IQ basketball player. He can operate out of the basic pick and roll, right? So why not give him more Spain opportunities? You know, we know that they've run it this year. We know they've tried to run it, especially after getting wrecked by Trae Young last year with it. We've seen Fournier operate out of it. So why not give that a whirl? Instead of always trying to do it with like, you know, the handoff stuff, which usually works great for them. I get it. Gets you good, clean looks. But why not start giving RJ more of these ball handling duties? Let him be the lead guard more, not just with the bench units either. I like that we've seen that at times too, I do want to say, but I want to see him just overall having more of these offensive initiator duties. He takes the load off Julius too. The whole point of these upgrades and RJ taking that leap was to help him. And if you look at the frequency touches, I think Julius has like 43% front court frequency touch percentage right now. And like, it's the same shit as last year, if that's the case, you know, and they gotta run stuff is my point. And you can see when the intent is that, and you can see when it isn't. And I just want to see a little bit more of that diversity in what they're trying to run.
Yeah, and they've actually used RJ a lot. Like he's played the 4 this year, which didn't really happen until the postseason last year, if I'm not mistaken. But one thing I wanted to mention on Kemba and Fournier too, these guys are not like locked into the starters, nor should they. Like they can easily get benched. I don't know, like people are like outraged that at the thought of Kemba not starting. First of all, that's not final, and he can be moved. It's not like this is not like you just spent like $30 million on Kyrie Irving or James Harden. You know what I mean? So for people that think that he has to be tied to the starting lineup, otherwise it's a disaster, that's just not the case. Now, will Thibodeau actually do that? Probably not. But Kyle, just building off what you said with RJ, maybe play the starters even less minutes. Right now, they play almost the full first quarter. Why don't you play the starters maybe 5 or 6? Bring in Burks a little earlier. Give RJ the point guard duties for a little bit. You know, mix it up a little more if you're not going to change the lineup is what I'm really asking for. Because, like you just said with Randall as well, he's kind of doing what he did last year when he doesn't have to at all. So that's where my little frustration's at.
I'm really glad you said what you said about them not having to start. Like people look at us, oh, you're turning on him already, and it's like, bro, like it's not working. Like he, you know, it's okay. Like it is okay to be objective about the fact that Kemba Walker may be the 3rd best point guard on this team. It is what it is. I mean, if he starts playing a different way and shows otherwise and catches, you know, fire, then great. If he suddenly starts getting to the basket and bouncing off of guys like he used to, then wonderful. But if you're watching the games, he's really not doing those things. And if he's not doing those things, he might just not be able to do that. And that's okay. But at the same time, if you have guys who are able, like Derrick Rose and Emmanuel Quickly were amazing last night. Emmanuel Quickly is getting out of the shooting slump he was in. And even when he was in that slump, he was still playing really good defense. He's improved as a playmaker. He's got that little like he's added to the floater now where he's got like the little underhand scoop layup that he puts up really high off the glass. And it doesn't even look like he has an angle, but it's somehow he just makes it happen with bigs on him all the time. It's amazing. I love it. Like, so it's like, if he can do that, if you're going to get better production out of him, then you might just have to play that guy. And that's okay. It doesn't mean you hate Kemba Walker. It doesn't mean that, you know, oh my goodness, I think he sucks. It's just like, bro, this guy's playing better. You know, even Evan Fournier, hey, bro, like, love you. But if you don't start hitting some shots, somebody that will has to play. Plain and simple. That's how basketball works. But especially because it'd be one thing if Evan Fournier was a lockdown defender or something, and it's like, oh, or like, you know, you're running offense to him and he's creating for others. If you're here to shoot, and if you're not shooting well, then you're not doing anything. But anyway, and to the RJ point, first of all, the victory lap is going to be so tremendous for a very long time, for the rest of our lives. Honestly, I'm so excited because he's here, and he's had like a slower couple games, so you know people have fallen off a little bit. But yes, I would like to, like, there are so many ways, like you said, Kyle. There's so many ways that we can use him, and every time we see another one, we're just like, yes, please give us more, because we knew he could do that. So like even now, like he's getting that. We gave it to him at like the free throw line. He turns around and puts that little floater up. I love it. I love that floater so much because it looks like it's one of those where like it doesn't look like it's going in so much so that you know it's going in. Like he's just putting it up like effortlessly. Like it's not even really a follow through on it. Like he just has it down pat. Like I don't know, whatever he worked on all summer, like he's got that down. He trusts that shot. And you can tell when somebody trusts the shot. And I love that there for him. I would love us to put him more in the high pick and roll to give him space, especially now that he's shooting threes off of the dribble. Give him an opportunity to do so. The pistol's cool and everything, but it doesn't really give him as much room to operate with. So now you kind of still have him like not necessarily in the phone booth, or spacing is better, but you're not maximizing the space on the floor for him and giving him, because like I said, he's been making excellent reads. You're not giving him room to make those same reads. You're not giving him room to make the defense react to certain things, to make a move. He does a great job when he's driving of either using his strength or he's got like that little sidestep thing he's doing now. Like give him more space to do these things, give the defense more things to defend, give them more things to react to. So I really hope to start seeing him in that high pick and roll rather than just being either a pistol on 18% of the possessions. And I haven't checked synergies. That just is me throwing a number out there. And or if it's not, it's like he's either pistol on 18% of possessions or he's waiting in the corner. And I feel like we can use him way better than that. And it would make him better and it would make us better as a team. Like that version of RJ that we saw in that game, he went for 35. And even that whole stretch, honestly, that whole like 4-game stretch where he just looked really comfortable, he looked really confident, and the offense was leaning into him a little more. He was making it. Like that takes pressure off of Julius. That gives us different things that we can run. That gives teams different things they have to prepare for. All of that. It makes us a better basketball team. So I hope that we lean into that because I feel like we're kind of not restricting his growth, but we're not fully embracing it. And I feel like because of that, we're like holding the team. Like you said, in the preseason, I feel like we ran such beautiful offense. Like we ran different sets, different actions, different like the Julius and Evan 2-man game looked beautiful. I feel like we're not seeing a lot of that. Like we're not. So even beyond guys not hitting shots, and I don't know, maybe if the two things go hand in hand, and maybe I'm not paying enough attention. I only watch the games once most times. But it's just like, we're not seeing the same actions that were being run. And maybe that's why we're not seeing the quality of shots. I don't know, but it just seemed like the offense was humming, like there were different options to go to. And I feel like a lot of times we start stagnating. And I don't know if we are missing shots because we're stagnating or if we're stagnating because we're missing shots. But like somewhere a balance has to be found because it'll hold us back as a team.
Yeah, just the starters overall, they just don't have like last night, for example, or against, well, no, this is dropping Friday. So when they played the Bucks, the lobs, just the different ways they find each other, the second unit, you just don't see that with the starters. Like occasionally RJ and Mitch or RJ and Randall, but you're just not like any of those reads. I feel like it's just 5 guys that called next and they're just like still trying to figure out each other's games.
I mean, to me, aside from Rand, and this is sort of why I feel like Randall may be trying to play the way that he's played a little bit more, which I put the cape on for Randall. This is well known, okay? I understand this, okay? I get it. I acknowledge it every time. I just want people to be aware of it. I'm aware of the bias. I get it. However, his numbers are almost identical to last year, man. I'm gonna spit some facts here, okay? I understand it doesn't always look pretty, but he's only down about 1% on his 2-point percentage. 3-pointers are down a little bit, I know, but still it's 37%. Almost the exact same conversation we had last year where we said, hey, we know 41% is a lot. We know. We don't maybe expect 41% again, but if he hovers somewhere between like 37, 38, 240, fine. That's perfectly fine for his position to be shooting that clip, So he's shooting 37% from deep. That was with a really bad cold spell too, mind you. After that, like hot first couple games, he went ice cold from deep for a bit, right? Still figured it out, 37%, right? Everybody whines about the turnovers whenever he makes a turnover. His turnovers are actually down to start the season. His steals and blocks are actually up to start the season. So he's still rebounding. I think he's actually rebounding more. He's got 11 right now. This is average. Again, this is just the first 10 to 11, 12 games here. But to me, I feel like maybe he's taken more of those difficult twos. And I think that's probably happening because I feel like the offense is playing scared. Like you just said, the way these bench units find each other, I feel like they're risk takers. I feel like they take chances. I feel like Quickly is not afraid to, let loose when he gets out there, whether he's attacking with the way that he dribbles or he's just like, fuck it, I'm going into the paint. Somebody's running with me. I'm gonna throw this shit up. You know, even Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose is just letting it rip from deep, bro. These are step back, pull up threes. If not, he's bringing you right back into the paint, throwing it up for OB, looking for somebody. But these guys are ripping passes too, like not just like soft baby shit. And on offense, I feel like they're very timid with how they're moving the ball around. Everyone's very like, I don't really know where to go. I don't really know when to cut. I don't really feel like cutting. I don't know if I can make that cut. I don't know if I can make that pass. I'll just stick this little handoff. I'll stick to this little, one step dribble over jump shot. I don't like playing scared that way. So that's why maybe I'm not, again, making excuses, but I think this is maybe why they look this way and guys, perceivably force it at times, because what else are you going to do if guys aren't making the cuts or making, the moves that they need to be making either? I'm speculating a little bit too. It's just that to me is the starkest difference. These guys come in the bench unit and they're just balls to the walls. And it's like, to me, like that's the beautiful thing about having these different shot creators. And back to Shaun's point about the starting lineup too, I never give a shit who starts, ever. Like, you just got to do your job. If you're not doing your job, whatever. So to me, I don't know why people get stuck on who it is, the name, if they're really a true one, a true two. I think all of that's very much bullshit and nonsense. I think we have a lot of creating guards now. A lot of guys who could shoot and create. I don't care if you label them at the one or the two. I truly do not. I think whoever it is that's not doing their job in that can and should be rotated. Very simply. Quick, I don't care if you think Emmanuel Quickly's not a true point guard. Then start him at the two if Fournier's not doing his job. I don't give a shit. Quickly can go in there and catch and shoot. He's playing good defense. Why shouldn't he? If he's not a point guard, then what is he? Okay, so I don't care. I don't care where positionally these guys go. I think they got to play. If they're doing their jobs, they're shooting the heck out of the ball. They got to play. That's really much it. So they got to play like the bench does. You got to go in. You got to be aggressive. You got to really attack, and you got to make meaningful moves, meaningful cuts, meaningful actions. I don't see that in the starting group.
No, it's something they got to work on, and something I hope Thibodeau's got to like mix in. Like I said, mix in the bench guys with RJ and Randall more if you have to, but something's got to be done. It's not sounding the alarm like an extreme DEFCON 6, but it's reaching that point where it's like you got to do something.
But yeah, I mean, and in terms of the bench, with their production and how much better they've been, and I think one thing I was really excited about, it sucked to lose the Bucks game like that after that great comeback, but it was exciting because it was like, okay, like now it's very difficult to ignore the fact that these guys have to play. Like Obi Toppin cannot play 9 minutes. I think in the game before that, he played 8 minutes and 42 seconds. Like, that's ridiculous. And the Cavs game, that was the Cavs game, right? He had 11 points in 11 minutes and it's 4 from the field. Like, he has to play. His energy is great. He's a huge part of that bench lineup. He's flying all over the floor. Offensively, he's cutting to the basket. He's an excellent finisher. He's taking people off the dribble now. He's not even hitting the jumper yet, and he's been incredibly impressive offensively. If the jumper starts to fall too, it's going to be great. And defensively, he's improved so much, like leaps and bounds. Like, it's insane, actually. Like, it's crazy because when we drafted him, it was like, oh, he's too stiff. He's got no hips. He'll never be able to move his feet. Blah, blah, blah. Now he's out there switching on the guards and blocking shots at the basket, pinning things to the glass, blocking 3-pointers. Like, he blocked Giannis last night. Like, always been excellent on both sides of the floor. And it's like, there's no way. You drafted this guy at number 8. He had a rough start in his rookie year. He came back in his sophomore year and he's improved in every way you want him to do. He dominated Summer League, just like we said he was supposed to. He's come in, he's looking inspired, he's flying all over the floor, he's giving everything he's got on both ends of the floor, and he's been productive on both sides. He's in a lineup that has the best lineup in the league in terms of like the plus minus or whatever it is, whatever the specific stat is. Like, like the net rating. You have to play him. There's no way this guy can, like, Emmanuel Quickly and Obi Toppin both should never be playing under 15 minutes. I feel like it's irresponsible today and tomorrow. Like, it's not good for their development, but also like they're productive players on the floor. They need to be on the floor. They make us a better team. Their energy is high, and they've been good on both sides of the floor. They've clearly showed the improvements and things we need them to show improvements in. So if Obi plays less than 10 minutes tomorrow night, even less than 15, honestly, I'm not going to say less than 15 because then I know I'm going to have to riot. But if he plays less than 10, I'm rioting for sure.
Gotta play. Got to play. He's blocking threes. This is why. I mean, what do you want him to do? He's got to play. Well, I mean, he comes in and it's immediate impact. He's got to play. Like plain and simple. To me, it just can't be. It can't be close to 10. He's got to play 20-ish minutes. You got to figure it out. There's plenty of ways to figure it out, but you got to figure it out. Like it's too. Like you said, he simplified the game. These aren't even jump shots. He's just straight up. Oh, I'm really athletic. These are the moves that I should do, being as athletic and as offensively fluid as I can move. I'm just going to do these because nobody can stop them. Maybe when they stop them, I'll go back to shooting jumpers. That's it. He only shoots when he's wide the fuck open now behind the three-point line. So to me, he listened and did all the job, and not just in terms of improvement, but in terms of filling his role. Okay, you want me to come in and kill it in 10 minutes? I'm going to kill it in 10 minutes. Both sides of the ball. Even on the break, we've seen him pushing the ball and making passes. So he's done everything he could in his minor role. It's time to upgrade him a little bit, man. He's got to play a bigger role now. He's got to really have an integral bench role now, at the least.
Here's a fun stat from Fred Katz at The Athletic. When Obi's on the floor, the Knicks play at the pace of the 8th fastest team in the league. When he's on the bench, they play at the 23rd fastest team in the league. And it's obvious when you watch him. I forgot which game it was. They were like sluggish, and then he came in. There was like a weird scramble. He ended up picking it off, takes it to the rack. And he's got the crowd involved when the crowd was absolutely dead. And the same thing happened against the Bucks, where the starters literally got booed off the court. And then the bench came in, he threw the lob, and they're literally chanting his name at the Garden. And the Garden loves him. Sometimes you got to play into it, and there really isn't a reason. Like if, let's say Taj Gibson, for example, was just happened to be killing it, then I would understand why his minutes are getting eaten into. But that's not the case. If anything, Taj is being played a little too much, as is Randall. And that's another problem that is starting to rear its ugly head, where Julius is playing so much for no reason that when the bench unit does come out of deficits, Julius is still almost on E. So, Thibodeau, I really don't understand what the deal is now. Because last year, you guys recapped, he looked like he was running with piano on his back last year. That's not the case this year. Tyler Marco actually just put out a piece on the biomechanics on how Obi's been more fluid overall. And that's also gone with his game, where now he's putting the ball on the floor, which you didn't really see until the end of last year when he really started to feel comfortable. And I feel like if this is a meritocracy, which is what Thibodeau claims to be, and I hold him true to that word, you got to get the consistent. There should be minimum 20 minutes. I'm not even going to settle for 15. I think 20 minutes until proven otherwise, because he gives you a little bit of everything now. And if you're blocking three-pointers, that's something you don't even expect him to get to. So I think Randall's good enough to play the 5 short periods. I think it's time to see Obi, Randall, quickly, and RJ as a unit.
Just helps. I don't know. It just helps. It just makes sense. Like, I don't know why Tibbs is afraid to go super modern. He's referenced in press conferences about sometimes needing to go small. Like, he went to them, he's used them at the 4 and 5 at certain times. So he knows when he's supposed to go small, he's supposed to use them. But it's not just about going small. It's about, like you said, Mike, the pace. Like, if Obi's going to be able to push the pace, then yeah, why not? Like, go help Randall out. He's a transition up-tempo kind of player. Generally, Randall is, like, not for nothing. Like, that was kind of the whole bit last year when they were able to get going. They were, like, dead last in offense last year. All of it was pretty much like, oh, I got the rebound. I'm going to go push it, initiate the offense, fuck it. Like, whether it was he did it himself, handed it off to Reggie, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, it was simple. But he needs help now. And he can't everything can't be like, okay, bring it up. Let's get into our set. Sometimes you got to go get easy ones. And nobody runs the floor like Obi Toppin. Nobody. So why not let Julius do that? And I've been making this point too in Slack. I would bet a lot of money over the last week that Julius's teammates left a lot of potential assists on the table. A lot. And this is for a guy who's still averaging 5 assists a game. So I'm willing to bet you, like he would be averaging 6.5, 7 easy right now, if these guys were just making somewhat of a regular clip. And the fact is, right now, they do look too slow and lackadaisical, and you got to get them better looks. And I think Obi's a guy that helps them get up and down the floor. And also, like helps him wheel and deal a little bit, because now you have to focus on two of those guys running down the floor. Randall's a menace on the break. Obi's a menace on the break. And then what's going to happen? Three guys are going to be open behind the three-point line. Take your pick, because everybody's going to rush to the rim to try to stop the first two. To me, it works. I'm not saying you got to do it the whole game, but use it as your death lineup. Use it as your in spurts. Like you said, like bring them in the first a little bit earlier, whatever. Like, you got to be able to do this stuff. Like, not for nothing. I love Taj. Taj gives us good minutes. Okay. He fights his heart out. It's not nothing to do with Taj. But we don't always need what Taj brings. We don't. Sometimes we need what Obi brings. Most of the time it's that. So the fact that we're still debating how to find time for him when it's like Taj is going to get minutes and Noel's going to get minutes. It's like, we know Noel's not bringing nothing on offense. No offense. He was pretty active when he was briefly healthy, last week. But again, we see the issues offensively. So if Obi's playing defense, then why are we worried? Maybe if he's blocking 3-pointers, maybe let's see what he blocks in the paint too. Maybe let's just try it out. Just try it out. Sometimes you don't know what you got. Tyrese Max is going nuts right now in Philadelphia. They're letting him play 35 minutes a night. Try it out sometimes. Sometimes the situation calls for it. We're really shorthanded right now. Mitch is getting dinged up. I'm saying that like at the 5, right? Noel's out. Try it out. What is the problem? Especially right now. Situationally, it makes so much sense.
That was the craziest part about the 9-minute game, because that was the game where Mitch didn't play and no one got hurt. So it was like, yo, whoa, what are you doing? Like, what are we doing? That made no sense to me. I was livid. That's unacceptable. Like, that is I've been using that word a lot lately, but that's really unacceptable. And he's just been really, really good. Like you said, he runs the floor like a gazelle. And not only is he running the floor, but he's creating opportunities where there wouldn't be one with running the floor like that. Like, he's closing out to shooters, making great closeouts because he's playing really good defense. And the minute he closes out, and he said Derrick Rose told him that when he got here, take off. And he is taking off and he's gone. And we're getting a lot of opportunities out of that when he's on the floor, even though he's not on the floor that long. So it's just like, bro, play the players that are going to make plays. Like, play the dynamic guys. Like, Obi's been very dynamic. And when you play more dynamic players together, it makes you a more dynamic team. And yeah, get creative. Make certain subs at certain times. Like, I just feel like Tibbs is, not only is he married to his rotation, but he's literally down to the minute that everybody comes in, every single time, no matter what. In the back to the Bucks game, Kemba got off to a horrible start. Didn't hit anything. It was bad. It was really ugly. When he, to the point, it was one of those things where he was it felt like PTSD, because I was like, where's Derrick Rose? Get him to the scorer's table. That's a terrible feeling to be back at. But it's whatever. It's not an end all be all, but tonight is not your night. Emmanuel quickly came in the game. He was excellent. Both ends of the floor. He was getting to the rack. He was hitting shots. He was playing great defense. He was making great off-ball screens. I just loved everything about what Quick was doing when he got in the game. And then for some reason, with 4.5 minutes left, we came back. I think we had a 1-point lead. 4 minutes left, 4.5 minutes left in the first half. He puts Kemba back in. We're down by 9 at halftime. And it's just tonight wasn't Kemba's night. He came back in the game and didn't do anything, while Emmanuel Quickly was out there and he was hooping. And this isn't a kill Kemba thing, but it's just a matter of you don't have to be married to the rotation so strenuously. It's okay to deviate a little bit and he keeps saying, I said it over and over in post game yesterday, Tibbs always says, the game will tell you what to do. You've got to read the game. You got to listen to the game. The game will tell you what to listen to the damn game then, bro. I don't know. You say it all the time. I got it from you. Listen to the game. You don't have to do exactly what the plan was before the game started. You're going to have to react to things, adjust in that way as well. But I mean, it's cool to be this annoyed at 7-5, because I know how much better we can be, which is where the frustration comes from, because I don't want to be at this 7-5 pace all year. I think this team is much better than that. Honestly, this team should be low-key 10-2 right now, probably, if we were playing the way we were supposed to play. So it's early. But people have the loser mentality. So it's early. We have plenty more games to lose before it's a problem. No. It's early. So let's stop this shit right now so we can win as many games as possible.
Yeah, we're just checking the temperature. That's all we're doing. And just to add one more agenda that we can start pushing, one guy who really deserves minutes and he's just not getting them at all, Quentin Grimes. He stepped in really nice in that Cavs game. I really think he could be even better than what Reggie was for this team as a 3-and-D guy and corner specialist, literally everything. And it's just like, we're really not tapping into that. I don't understand why. Like, you put him in the starting lineup instead of this is never going to happen. But let's say you have Julius, Mitch, RJ, Grimes, and then you could put like Quickly, Rose, whoever the fuck you want. That's a really good starting five. That's low maintenance. He's low maintenance on offense. He's going to defend his ass off just because he's young and he's trying to prove himself. I feel like that's right there for the taking, and he showed out in like the very spot minute against the Cavs, and he hasn't played the next 2 games since. So that's another one that's an agenda I want to start pushing in the coming weeks.
It's just the guard rotation has got to be by committee. Like this is my I'm gonna have this take all year. It's got to be by committee. You got to try them out. You got to try whatever the game calls for, like Shaun said, and you got to be able to mix and match. And honestly, the context of all those guys getting there, how they got here, everybody should be able to buy into that too. Like Derrick Rose does not give a fuck, bro. You want him to start? I'll start. I don't care. You want me to come off the bench? Cool. I really honestly don't care. You want me to play 10 minutes tonight? Fine with me. You want me to play 35, 40 minutes tonight? Okay. I'll do it. So there's that, right? Quick is a second-year player. He's still trying to fit in, right? Whatever coach says he's going to do. Kemba came on a kind of a prove-it deal. So I'll come for a little bit cheaper. 1-year deal, 2-year deal, right? Short deal, affordable. But obviously, you would imagine he's going to want to play well so that he can cash out someplace else, whether here, someplace, he wants to still prove he's got it. So to me, if these guys don't got it, then try somebody else out. That's it. Grimes came in, did a good job. I know you guys are pushing that agenda heavy. I didn't think he was going to really see much time because Tibbs, just, that's how it goes here. Obi's still struggling to get time. Why am I going to waste time thinking about Grimes? But he came in, he looked good, hit his shots, played defense. And again, yes, if Portier's not hitting the shots, and then if he's not hitting the shots, it's contributed nothing, right? Okay, well, it shouldn't be a big deal, to take him out. The only issue at this point is he's the second highest paid player on the team. And that's a bad look if your second highest paid player on the team can't hit shots and can't do nothing else. But if he's not doing his job, then this shouldn't be a prideful bunch. He's a little bit older in his career too. You know what I mean? You still got to do your job, bro. Not for nothing. You weren't ever an all-star. This is not some high-level profile player that you're banishing to the bench. It's not. It should not be that big of a deal with all of these guys. To figure it out, and Tibbs should be able to mix and match and sort through properly. That's it. The other guys I get. RJ never should leave the starting lineup. Randall never leave the starting lineup. I get it. Mitch, I don't think should ever leave the starting lineup either. But it's just the rest of that is Obi playing bigger minutes and just being able to be a little bit more fearless with how he's moving those guys in the guard rotation around. That's it. You don't gotta go down with the ship sometimes. I will never believe that. If you don't got, like you said, Shaun, if you don't got it, you don't got it. Everybody knows that's with shooters too. It's not even a big deal sometimes. If you missed your shots tonight, all right, man. Did you get mostly good looks? You just missed. That sucks. Okay, you got to take a seat right now because somebody else might be able to make these shots. It's not that big of a deal. You'll play. You'll start. You'll play again next game. Try it again. But tonight we got to talk about it. Tibbs would be a perfect coach, amazing coach if he just learned to adjust, bro. Amazing. Identity-wise, scheme-wise, generally the preparation, the floor he raises your teams to is great. And then the adjustment thereafter is always the issue. So begging for it, man, because last year when you made adjustments, it was game 75 in the playoffs. It was a little too late. Just get ahead of it, man. I'm not saying it's got to be today even because this is, again, it is, not to kill the theme of the pod, but it is, I understand it is a little bit early to go drastic. That's fine. But if you do the in-game stuff, that's 90% of it. It doesn't got to be some big drastic punishment, big drastic move in the starters. Just do the right thing during the game. And normally, he gets it. He knows when to call angry timeouts when it's not going his way. So he gets when things are, again, he knows this stuff. Just do it sometimes. Just make the change. Put your, big boy pants on and play Obi at the 5 and guard. Let's get weird. Just do it.
That's the thing. It's a matter because it's not, oh my goodness, the starting line needs to change next game. That's not, and I feel I hate when people disagree with me on purpose or I hate when people misunderstand me on purpose. It's bro, I did not say that. You're responding to something I did not say. and now building it as if this is what I said and this is what I always say. It's super annoying, but whatever. Like, no, it doesn't have to change right away, but it's just like, you don't have to die on the hill. So it's like, next game, like, that should be the last time where I see Kemba get off to a shitty start, IQ come in and play well, and IQ still get pulled to end the half. I shouldn't see that again. We should learn from these things. And that's why I was very encouraged by Tibbs being pissed off and saying it's bullshit and you don't have to wait 40, 50 games, because I'm hoping that he's going to learn from the mistake he made last year. That's all we can ask. I asked that from the players. I asked for growth. So from the coach, I also asked for growth. Don't make the same mistake you made last year. Plain and simple. So I don't expect to have to deal with the same thing all year. You're right. It's not going to be a drastic, new starters next game. But okay, you start to make some of those in-game tweaks. And back to what Mike said, this is a Quentin Grimes stan account, like 100%. I love Quentin Grimes. The moment we drafted him, I was like, yo, this is one of the most beautiful jumpers I've ever seen. Like, I watched his jumper on YouTube all night. He's a really good defender. He rebounds well. He makes the right pat. Like, he's a good ball mover. He doesn't require much on the ball. He has on-ball skills he can develop, but that's not what he'll be doing right now. He's a really good off-ball guy. He can get shots off, even contested, because he's got a very quick release and it's very high. Like, that's the kind of guy you stick in. Like, where they have RJ just sitting in the corner, Quentin Grimes is the guy you stick in the corner. Stick Quentin Grimes in the corner. Let RJ run a high pick and roll. You don't really have to run anything for Quentin Grimes. Like, let him be that's what, like, but I'm not saying he has to get minutes right away or anything, but like, yeah, like, he should get an opportunity to do so, especially because, there's not a large sample size, but I feel like the sample size, it's not a large sample size, but it's a loud sample size, because it happened in the preseason. Didn't say much about it because I know, it's preseason, blah, blah, blah. It's like, bro, it was basketball. But Tibbs put him in the fourth quarter of that Wizards game, and he couldn't take him out because he was just making all the right plays. He ended up closing the game with the starters. Yeah, it's preseason, but he's on the floor with the starters, and he looks really good. And then against the Cavs, put him in the fourth quarter, like, I think we need a spark. I was saying before the game, I hope he gets minutes when we gave Kemba the rest. And instead, Tibbs just cut the rotation to 9 men. I was like, a little disappointed. Fourth quarter, I saw him come out there. I was like, whoa, he played the whole fourth quarter. Kept RJ on the bench, which, I would like it to not be RJ on the bench. But hey, man, Quentin Grimes is playing. When he gets in the game, even if it's the fourth quarter, he makes it impossible for Tibbs to take him out. Yet he doesn't get back in. And it's like, I'm not going to scream and cry about it. But like, at some point, you might want to give that guy a shot, especially if guys aren't hitting theirs.
Yeah, it's very. I think it's an easy, minor adjustment he could be made, and it's one that I think could really pay dividends, because Reggie Bullock was a good, like, the archetype Reggie Bullock filled is what RJ and Randall need around them, and I think Grimes can give them that, just younger and more energetic. And
I think him and RJ as a wing duo defensively would be really good. Like, I think he's our second best wing defender. Like, he's a really good point of attack defender. Moves his feet well. He's got great length.
Yeah, that's another thing that's really missing from the starters. I don't know. Obviously, Grimes started. That's just wild to even consider. But just a secondary perimeter defender is something that's really lacking. Reed talked about it in his post-game blog. They're giving up a lot of open threes, and that's without facing a premier perimeter threat, because I don't think we've really faced one since I can't even think off the top of my head, but we haven't really faced
Levine.
Levine. So that was a while ago. See, that took a while. When you start facing Levine, the Celtics, God forbid when we have to face Curry and the Warriors, like, these are really good perimeter players that if RJ's preoccupied, I don't really know who's helping RJ, or if RJ is having an off night or not playing, it's going to be really rough. So that's like another thing Grimes can help out with.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see if Tibbs ever goes to the well consistently. He doesn't like to do that, but I mean, something's got to give, man. They're not playing good defense right now, and not for nothing, but I think a lot of that's on the wings and on the point of attack. So you can't let it just happen for 82 games if it's rearing its head this early in the season. You got to make these types of adjustments. So hopefully they get some time, man. Some of the questions we had tonight coming in for the pod were basically about that. Like, when are these rookies going to start getting some minutes? I think things would have to be consistently bad for them to keep getting minutes. Basically, I think Tibbs has to kind of be embarrassed almost to a point of the performance in front of him to then let some of these guys play. Just, it is what it is. feel like Grimes is going to play like once every 2 weeks type of thing. Like it just there's not that many minutes for him to grab, and if there is, Tibbs normally not going to allocate them, when you want him to. So this is kind of the reality of the situation. But hey, I mean, maybe we'll see more games like the Cavs game because that shit was ridiculous. By the way, the Ricky Rubio thing, I'm sorry. Like, and also like one thing I do want to say on this pod too is like, as much as we want to talk about how, the Knicks have struggles, every team has their struggles, right? Sometimes it's like the other team just like does something that works against you. And sometimes also they're just on fire against you. Like the Raptors game, I felt like they were on fire. And also they switched up, I think, to a zone briefly, whooped our ass. And it was just like, I mean, you guys, they did well. I don't know. OG played really well. Both sides of the ball killed us, right? And then the Cavs game, yeah. I mean, Ricky Rubio, look, man, like some of those, sometimes you just lose and you're not supposed to lose. I don't know how I'm supposed to say it. It's not a cheap cop-out. There's infinite timelines, right? And there's only one where Ricky Rubio has that night. And it happened. And sometimes you just got to laugh a little. Like, that is an absurd amount of points for Ricky Rubio to score. I'm sorry. Like, they don't, I hate to say it. I don't want to sound like the homer, like I don't want to do it, but like, they don't lose that game 99 out of 100 times. Like the one time that they lose it is when Ricky Rubio does that. And Ricky Rubio did that. Like if he just scored like 26 points, we probably get out of there okay. Still annoyed, but we get out of there okay. And even then you would have been like, Ricky Rubio had 26 points and that was ridiculous. I'm disgusted that we won that game. You still would have had the same feeling, right? But he had 37. Like an unbelievable, what was he, 8 for 8 from deep?
From the same spot.
This has bothered me all week. All week this has bothered me. Ricky Rubio, bro.
8 for 8.
Yeah, from the same fucking spot. That's what really like annoyed me more than anything. Run him off the spot. He was literally in the same exact spot. Because the numbers, honestly, I penciled in 30 from Colin Sexton. So when he went down, I wasn't like too mad about the Rubio eruptions. I was like, all right, I kind of penciled in 30 anyway. But how he got it, like run him off his spot. And then there was times he was wide open in the mid-range. I was like, did you guys not see him go off from 3? He's obviously feeling it. Get in his fucking face. That's where my point of frustration was. Not the total output, but how he got it.
Some of them were like end the shot clock too. It was like, bro, you got to be kidding me. Like, yo, not only is he perfect from the field, from 3, but he's throwing up. Like he threw a couple of those up. Like it was just like, yo, like why?
The one on Grimes was hurtful. I was like, fuck, man. Like,
oh my, bro, I was like, no way. Ricky Rubio is pump faking people and then hitting the shot because Grimes still contested.
Yeah,
I was like, yo, this is crazy. Like,
that
was nuts.
That was
some of those shots were fucking nuts, bro. Like some of them were just open, right? But then some of them were like side fade away. Like I was like, what is going on, bro? Like, it was like watching Kobe. I was like, this is unbelievable, yo. This guy's like any direction drilling shots. I was like, I can't believe what I'm watching right now. Like on the Cavs, like you never expected. It's always with this team. It's like, all right, yeah. We have Giannis in prison the first half of that game, right? Okay, so it's always like that works for us. Then it's like Terrence Ross is 21 in the fourth. You're like, why? Pat Connaughton has like 20 in the. Why? Ricky Rubio's got 37. How? It's like how is that possible? How? Like it'll never make sense to me, man. Never. The Knicks career high club is such a hurtful. Like it's a hurtful club that spans over such a long period of time. It doesn't matter what generation of Knick fan that you are. There's been role players at a certain time in your life that have just stepped up to an unbelievable level that they will never, they don't do it to any other team ever. It only happens to the Knicks. Almost always happens at the Garden. And it's an unbelievable situation. And everybody knows what it's happening is the worst part of it. Every single body. When Terrence Ross hits the second 3, everybody in our brains, it's activated. We're like, okay. And then what happens?
Terrence Ross tonight.
Yeah, it's Terrence Ross time. And then all of a sudden he shoots the third 3 and you're like, well, but we already know what's happening here. He hoists it from half court, the shot clock's down, you know it's going to go in. And it's Martell Webster 10 years ago going off at the Garden for like 30-something. An endless list of guys who have done this stuff, bro. An endless list. Like it's disgusting. So really took me back, bro. Really took me back.
You didn't have to
Martell Webster was
I was about to say you didn't have to bring that one back.
Yeah, I mean, I don't enjoy it either. I don't,
That's hurtful.
but
Yeah, mailbag.
yeah. So let's just get to the mailbag quick. But I mean, we touched on some of it, but the Kemba Walker's clearly a shell of himself. Should the Knicks have him come off the bench, have D Rose quickly start, and leave D Rose in the 6-man role? This is from Corey Waldron at KWall Hoops. We sort of touched on that earlier in the pod, but basically, probably generally speaking, Kemba holds it for right now. But again, you got to do your job, and I mean, but really, these guys should be used interchangeably. I know. Time it's getting late fast, basically around here, but that's kind of the deal, right? I mean,
I put this campaign away for a little while. It was a campaign last year, but last year was just because it was a strong necessity because the other option was horrible. But I'm at Start IQ, hashtag Start IQ. Not even on I hate Kemba or blah, 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 but it's just Emmanuel Quickly is clearly a better basketball player right now. And he also has more potential. And I feel like he adds more to the lineup, especially with him out of bro, those step back threes he hits, bro, they just charge my spirit. He makes basketball fun. He opens the floor up for guys. And I think that you need to look at Tyrese Maxey over there going crazy in Philly with 35 minutes a game. See what Emmanuel Quickly does in a solidified. I feel like if anybody is going to have a night where they end up only playing 14 or 15 minutes because of the way that things shook out, it should be Kemba. It shouldn't be IQ. IQ shouldn't be the one to lose. He gets lost in the sauce sometimes, and I don't think that should happen. So I'd much rather start IQ. I love Rose in that 6-man role, and that doesn't mean Kemba can't play, but I would like to start Emmanuel Quickly for sure.
I will join Shaun on that move and just shout out to Tyrese Maxey, but Emmanuel Quickly had him doing the whip, so
forever.
Yeah. I mean, the other one we got here is how do the Knicks clean up defending the 3-point line, especially with the starters? That's from at Mets Home Run Guy.
Close out, man. Just close out, know where the other guy is on the floor. And this kind of ties back to where we started, where it's clearly Kemba and Fournier that are just still adjusting to RJ, Mitch, and Randall, because I feel like those three know where each other are going to be. The other two, not so much. And I just feel like there's just a lot of dying on screens, and Kyle mentioned with Fournier in particular chasing. So I think that's where it's at right now.
Yeah, man. I just think it takes full engagement, with the way the basketball is predicated on the 3-point line. We're trying to, we're helping a lot and things like that. So it just requires every single guy to make every single rotation. You can't take a playoff. You can't take a rotation off. It can't be, there's been 7 passes, so I just don't really feel like making that rotation. We're going to get burned. You're going to get burned. We're seeing it. Teams are burning us. So, we have to control the controllables. Guys are going to hit some tough shots. You're going to have the Ricky Rubio nights where he's hitting, sideways, fadeaways with his hand behind his head. But outside of that, you have to close out. You got to be in the right place. Do what you can about what you can do. And that's really the only way to fix it. It's a matter of effort. Effort is non-negotiable.
Yeah, I mean, it's half effort. And then, we said earlier in the pod, just, I don't know if it's over helping. I don't know if they're sagging a little bit on purpose, but whatever it is, give Mitch more space in the paint, man. Just whoever's the rim protector, you're paying them for a reason. I think they got to earn their money. So for me, it's just, worry about the corners more than you're worried about the paint. I know Tibbs loves protecting the paint, but I think you got to trust your talent down there too. I think Julius has been more active with some of those defensive stats. And it's just you got to trust those guys, to make the right reads versus maybe premeditating it a bit. I'm not saying it happens every time, but, it's happened too often. And you got to, for me, I mean, it's either the laziest 3-point corner contesting we've ever seen, or, it's just, something they got to work on. But yeah, just don't stay in the paint too long. It's really my thing. Just get out to the corners. It's a very simple thing. They're killing you there, get out. Yeah, I mean, that's basically it for, the mailbag for everything else. But, thank you guys. We got the 40,000 followers on Twitter. That was nice. dropped a little Kurt Thomas tribute video, of course. I mean, what else? You can't do anything with the number 40 if it's not Kurt Thomas. Shout out Kurt. The Utah Jazz game will always live forever amongst
Shout out Kurt.
Various moments. Yeah, I mean, hell of a play, hell of a Nick. But
the entire time too, like hell of a Nick and both his stints.
I love when we get second stint, guys. I love it. It doesn't always work out, but it always warms my heart. Like Rose is one of them right now. I love when we get, because normally one of the stints goes really well, one of them doesn't go. I mean, not for Kurt, but like normally it's usually one and the other. Ray Felton, one good stint, one bad stint. You know, I mean, this is kind of how it works. You know, there's a balance. But shout out Kurt.
Can't wait till we get to 50K and drop the Michael Sweetney video.
Absolutely.
It's gonna be 3 seconds. It's gonna be that meme video. Yeah. I mean, I can't wait for the Sweetney video. That's gonna be helpful. But
Greg Anthony, come on, like I can't do Michael Sweetney.
I would respectfully have to do Zach Randolph for our fan base, you know. But he was 50.
Shout out Zebo.
Yeah.
All right. I just want to. The Michael Sweetney comment sullied my brain for a moment, so I had to be sure of that. I was like, maybe he was 51. Maybe
That's
he didn't
so
wear
gross.
an awful number. Yeah. I thought, Michael. You know, one of my old friends that was like, he didn't get many Knicks jerseys. This was like growing up, we were kids. For whatever reason, he got Michael Sweetney, and I was like, why? Why would you have gotten him? Even I wasn't even smart as a Knicks fan at that age. And I was like, why though? Like, just an unimpressive jersey to get. Like that's the exciting player.
That's terrible.
Terrible. I mean,
That's a terrible jersey.
Yeah, terrible jersey to own.
That's like getting a lineman
someone's
jersey
got
in
it.
football. That's terrible.
You don't want to wear number 67?
Yeah, like yeah, I'm gonna get a Shaw Ferguson jersy. Like that's what I'm doing.
Whoa.
I like Brick. I'm just saying, like, I'm not rocking his jersey. No offense. Like,
No, I understand.
little me ain't rocking. Like, I don't go to the game to watch the dude pass block.
It's fair. That's a good point. But I appreciate you guys following. You guys make it a lot of fun. Help us get to 50K, of course. We like to drop more content videos. Speaking of which, you know, we had an excellent Secession video the other day by Josh Silverman. Great. Check it out. You know, got a couple write-ups on it. It was real nice. So check it out. Great stuff. We got a lot of heat coming from you. Ryan Gray's been doing those post-game videos. Hilarious every time. And normally after a win, make sure you follow some of our newer accounts. You know, No Context Knicks about to hit 10K. The Knicks shitpost account, that's us. Josh Richards and Petey put that together, and I mean that's been really, really a delightful account in the only 4 or 5 posts that we've dropped so far. I mean, really a truly, truly fun thing to have. So, you know, go follow that and just keep going to theknicksworld.com, man. Give us a subscription. You know, it's not just us anymore. You might not like me. I understand. You might not like us. But now we have another little cast of guys that comes on here, guys and gals, and they record a podcast too. Maybe you like them better. So for whichever choice you make, if it's both of us, great. If it's one or the other, awesome. Give us a 5-star rating and review. Helps us keep doing this. We like to see them, especially if it's positive. And that's pretty much it, man. Oh, and we're going to have another sale soon. Again, I got to drop it for you guys because ahead of time with this supply chain stuff. But designtree.com/theknickswall. Check out the shop. We'll get you another discount code soon. And that's pretty much it. We will talk to you guys hopefully in the next week. Talk shop, and hopefully it'll be better than 2 games over 500. They got a softer schedule coming up. You got to be able to take advantage. So hopefully next time we talk to you guys, it's on the other side of a couple of wins.
Yes.
Until next time.
Yep. On that note, we'll talk to you guys next time. Take it easy.